This is the desert box. Inside is a small piece of the desert. So many important things happen in the desert that we just have to have a small piece of it in our room. The desert is a strange and wild place. At night it is very cold, but in the day it is burning hot. There is almost no water at all. The desert is always changing. The wind comes, and as it blows, it shapes and molds the desert. The desert is never the same. God led the people through the waters to freedom and gave them the 10 best ways to live. Now the people of God were on their way to the promised land, the land God promised to give them. The people of God loved the 10 best ways to live so much that they wanted to carry them with them. But they needed a way to come close to something so precious, so God told them how. First, they made a special box. The ark, to carry the 10 best ways to live. It was covered with gold, and on the top were 2 golden angels, and inside they put the 10 best ways to live. But now they needed a way to get ready to come close to the ark. So they made an altar where they could burn incense. It made a wonderful smell and smoke, and now the priest could go through the sweet-smelling incense and smoke to the ark and be close to God. But this still wasn't enough to come close to something so precious. So they made a special table called the table of shewbread. It was covered with gold, and every Sabbath day they put 12 loaves of unleavened bread on it. On the other side, they put the gold candlestick, called the menorah, with 7 burning lights. Now the priest could walk between the table of shewbread and the menorah, through the sweet-smelling incense and smoke to the ark to come close to God. But this was not enough to get ready, so they made a tent called a tabernacle. Inside the tabernacle, the tent for God, was a special veil that divided the tent. It divided an inside room for the ark and an outside room. They called the inside room the Holy of Holies, and that is where they kept the ark. And now the priest could walk into the tent, between the table of shewbread and the menorah, through the sweet-smelling incense and smoke, into the Holy of Holies, to the ark, and be close to God. Outside the tent for God, the people made sacrifices at the great altar of burnt offerings. Here they gave the very best of their animals to God. A great bowl of water, called the laver, was placed in front of the tent so they could wash their hands and feet before they went inside the tent. And then the priest would go into the tent, between the table of shewbread and the menorah, through the sweet-smelling incense and smoke, into the Holy of Holies, to the ark, and be close to God. They covered the tent with beautiful cloths. And finally, on the outside, they put one that was rough and woolly, so no one could see what was going on inside. They would see that and just pass on by. This was still not enough. They couldn't just leave this all sitting out in the desert. So they put a linen fence all the way around it. Now they had a special place and a special way to come near to God. It was a tent for God. So whenever the people of God moved in the desert, they could take down the fence, they could take down the tent and everything in it and carry it with them wherever they went. And now the 10 best ways could lead the way.